Do you know what truly determines whether you remember or forget? It's not your natural memory, but your ability to focus in the very moment of learning. Focus is the doorway through which information enters your memory. If that doorway is left open for distractions to sneak in, knowledge will slip away like sand through your fingers. That's why the very first step is to clear your environment. Silence your phone, eliminate noise, and tidy up your desk. Then, remind yourself with one simple but powerful phrase. This matters. I want to understand it. When you study with the mindset that you'll have to teach it to someone else, you stop learning passively. You read slower, you ask yourself questions, and when your mind drifts away, you know how to bring it back. Focus is not a gift you're born with. It's a skill. And once you master this skill, your memory will be transformed forever. Have you noticed that whatever you don't truly understand tends to slip away from your mind as if it never existed? The brain cannot hold on to something vague. That's why if you want to remember for the long term, you must first understand. Pause and try to explain it in your own words. Ask yourself, what does this mean? Why does it matter? The moment you turn foreign information into something familiar, you unlock a new doorway for memory. Connect the new knowledge with what you already know, like adding another piece to a puzzle you've been building. Don't hesitate to use examples, watch a video, or break the concept down into smaller, simpler steps. Once true understanding arrives, learning no longer feels heavy. It becomes engaging, alive, and even exciting. Understand first, then memorize. That is the key to lasting memory. Have you ever noticed something fascinating? The human brain was never built to memorize endless lines of dry definitions, complicated theories, or abstract formulas. What it truly loves is simplicity. Things that are easy to imagine, easy to connect, and above all, things that carry emotions. That's why, whenever you face a difficult concept, instead of forcing yourself to swallow every technical term, try doing something different. Break it down into everyday words. Imagine you're explaining it to a 5-year-old. You'll naturally drop the unnecessary complexity and focus on the essence, the simplest, clearest version. And in that moment, you've already started unlocking your memory. But words alone are not enough. Learn to create images in your mind. Paint vivid pictures. The stranger and funnier, the better. For instance, if you need to remember a dry concept in biology, turn it into a cartoon character in your imagination. Maybe a little silly, maybe exaggerated. The brain despises boredom but adores the unusual. Those bizarre, quirky images become hooks that anchor knowledge deeply in your memory. And then comes one of the most powerful tools of all, storytelling. When you transform scattered bits of information into a story with a beginning, a climax, and an end, your memory suddenly works in a whole new way. Details stop standing alone and instead link together into a logical flow. You don't just remember individual points, you recall the entire journey. That's why people can remember a 2-hour movie in detail but forget a short paragraph within minutes, because movies are stories while text is not. So don't just study, retell it. Turn learning into a narrative, an adventure your brain actually wants to follow. When you do, learning stops being a burden and becomes an experience. Exciting, engaging, and profoundly effective. Have you ever wondered why some things you study over and over still slip away, while childhood memories you only experienced once stay vivid forever? The secret lies in how the brain processes repetition. Simply repeating something many times in a single session isn't enough. Your brain needs to be reminded at spaced intervals for information to truly stick. This is the power of spaced repetition. Instead of cramming everything at once and forgetting soon after, build a rhythm of review. Once after a day, then 3 days later, then after a week, then a month. Each of these reviews acts like adding another solid layer of cement around a brick of knowledge. transforming it from fragile short-term memory into strong long-term memory. You don't need long hours of endless revision. What matters is reviewing at the right time. Just a few minutes, placed strategically, can be far more powerful than hours of mindless repetition. Think of learning like planting a seed. You can't dump a whole bucket of water on it once and then ignore it for weeks. The plant won't survive. Instead, you water it a little, consistently, at the right times, and only then does it take root and grow strong. Knowledge works the same way. It needs consistent nourishment, spaced just right, to truly become part of who you are. In this digital age, when most people type faster than they write, handwriting may seem outdated. But the truth is the opposite. Writing by hand is one of the most powerful ways to deeply embed knowledge into your memory. When you pick up a pen and put words onto paper, your brain doesn't just record information. It actively processes, organizes, and restructures ideas. And during that process, you often discover gaps in your understanding or new questions you never thought of before. Writing by hand is not just a movement of the hand. It activates multiple senses at once. Your eyes see the words, your hand feels the motion, your inner voice reads silently. This multisensory experience creates stronger, more lasting memory traces. And when you add colors, underline key points, or sketch simple diagrams, the brain turns the information into a vivid picture rather than plain, lifeless text. Imagine having a notebook filled with colorful highlights, bold underlines, and little drawings scattered between your notes. Every time you review it, you're not just seeing words, you're reliving the very moment you wrote them, with the emotions attached. That's something a keyboard will never give you. Handwriting may be slower, but in that slowness lies its true power. It allows you to live with the knowledge, to feel it, and to make it truly yours. There's one powerful yet often overlooked method of learning: teaching someone else. The moment you try to explain an idea, your brain won't let you just skim over it. It forces you to organize the information, find clear words, and present it in a logical way. That very process strengthens your memory far more than passive reading ever could. As you begin to teach, you quickly notice the gaps in your understanding. The parts that feel difficult to explain are exactly where your knowledge is weak. And that's not a failure, it's an opportunity. Every time you identify and fix those gaps, you're reinforcing your memory and building a stronger foundation. The best part? You don't need a classroom or real students. You can teach a friend, talk to your pet, or even stand in front of a mirror and explain it out loud. It might sound silly, but the brain doesn't care who your audience is. It only cares that you're turning information into speech. And when that happens, your brain flags the knowledge as important and stores it much deeper into long-term memory. So, turn every study session into a mini teaching session. Don't just learn for yourself. Pretend you'll have to share it with others. When you learn like a teacher, knowledge sticks with you in a way it never does otherwise. Have you ever noticed how you can forget a math formula within days, but remember a catchy song lyric for decades? That's the power of memory tricks, mnemonics. Our brains don't like dry, lifeless data, but they are incredibly good at holding on to information that comes with rhythm, imagery, or emotion. Start simple. Use the first letters of a list to form a sentence, a phrase, or even a playful rhyme. For example, many people memorize the colors of the rainbow with short, quirky phrases. Just a handful of letters can lock entire sequences into your memory. It works because the brain loves patterns. It loves things that are short, structured, and easy to recall. Another powerful trick is turning information into a song, a rap, or a rhyme. With music, your brain effortlessly remembers, just like you can sing along to songs you haven't heard in years. Rhythm and melody act like a glue, bonding information tightly into your memory. And don't be afraid to create strange, even ridiculous mental images. Picture a math concept as a cartoon character, or a chemical formula as a funny movie scene in your head. The weirder and more entertaining the image, the longer your brain will hold on to it. Because when learning feels like play, the brain doesn't just record, it enjoys. And when the brain enjoys, memory becomes limitless. Our brain is like a giant library, and the way you arrange the books inside determines how easily you can retrieve information later. When knowledge is stored in a messy, unorganized way, recalling it feels like searching through chaos. But when everything is neatly structured, memory works smoothly, almost effortlessly. One of the most powerful strategies for this is chunking, breaking down complex data into smaller, meaningful groups. For example, instead of trying to memorize a 10-digit number all at once, you break it into clusters of 3 or 4. Suddenly, what seemed overwhelming becomes easy. The brain naturally prefers order and patterns, and chunking taps directly into that strength. In addition, make use of simple yet powerful tools: bullet points, mind maps, and clear headings. When you write notes, don't let ideas scatter randomly. Organize them into sections, boxes, or categories. Each small container gives the brain a clear path to store and retrieve information later. Think of your memory as a library. If books are scattered everywhere, finding one takes forever. But if every book is placed neatly on the right shelf, you can grab it in seconds. Knowledge works the same way. When it's organized, not only do you remember longer, but you also recall with clarity and confidence whenever you need it. Our brain doesn't just memorize through sight or sound. It works best when multiple senses join the process. Each sense is like a doorway, and when you open several at once, knowledge finds more paths to enter and stay locked in memory. Imagine reading a passage silently. That's only vision. But if you read it out loud, you add hearing. If you also write the key points by hand, you bring in touch. And if you connect your learning to real objects you can hold or see, you're giving your brain a multi-sensory experience, vivid and unforgettable. The more senses you activate, the stronger the memory becomes. That's why you may forget the details of a book, but still remember the smell of the room where you first read it. Or you might lose track of a lecture's content. Yet the sound, the images, and the feeling of being there remain crystal clear. The brain stores feelings and sensory input far more powerfully than dry data. So don't learn through a single channel. Read aloud, write things down, listen to recordings, touch real objects whenever possible. When knowledge enters through multiple senses, it doesn't just sit in your memory. It becomes part of your lived experience. And what becomes experience, you never truly forget. The human brain is like a massive web where every piece of knowledge is a node connected to countless others. When you learn something new without linking it to what you already know, it's like a leaf drifting in the wind. Easy to lose, easy to forget. But the moment you connect it with existing knowledge, that leaf attaches to a branch, which ties to a tree, which belongs to the entire forest of your memory. So whenever you encounter new information, ask yourself, what does this remind me of? Where have I seen this before? How does this connect to what I already know? These simple questions act as bridges, weaving the new into the familiar. The more connections you create, the stronger and more enduring the memory becomes. For instance, when learning a new scientific concept, try linking it to a personal experience or a real-life event. When studying a foreign language, compare a new word to your native tongue, or connect it with a situation you've actually lived. The brain doesn't remember in isolation. It remembers by association. And the denser the web of associations, the harder it is for knowledge to slip away. Connecting the new with the old doesn't just strengthen memory, it makes learning far more engaging. Instead of isolated fragments, knowledge turns into a grand mosaic where every piece fits into a larger picture. And as that picture grows clearer, you realize you're not just learning to memorize, you're learning to truly understand the world around you. Human memory isn't a dry checklist. It's more like a forest of branching trees. That's why mind maps are such a powerful tool. They mirror the very way our brain thinks and organizes information. Instead of writing notes in rigid lines, you place the main topic in the center, then draw branches outward for each major idea and smaller branches for details, like a living tree expanding with every thought. When you create a mind map, your brain isn't just processing words, it's engaging in creativity. You choose colors to separate ideas, add icons or little drawings to highlight meaning, and all these visual cues make the knowledge come alive. The richer the visual and creative elements, the easier your brain can store and recall the information later. Most importantly, mind maps allow you to see the big picture. Instead of isolated fragments, you witness how everything connects. It's like standing above a city with a map, where every road and landmark is clear and interlinked. With mind maps, you're not just memorizing facts. You're understanding relationships, patterns, and structure. And the magic is this. Each time you revisit your mind map, your brain instantly reactivates the web of associations you built. It's like opening a doorway back into the exact moment of learning. That's the power of images, structure, and creativity working hand in hand with your memory. Sleep is the silent guardian of memory. You can spend hours studying, read hundreds of pages, but without proper sleep, very little will stick. While you sleep, your brain doesn't shut down. Instead, it works like a diligent librarian, sorting through everything you learned, discarding the unnecessary, and carefully storing the valuable knowledge into long-term memory. A solid 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night is nature's gift to the mind. It doesn't just strengthen memory, it sharpens focus, fuels creativity, and improves decision-making. Think back to the days you barely slept. Your mind felt foggy, concentration was weak, and memory almost vanished. That is clear evidence that sleep is the true foundation of learning and retention. To make your sleep truly restorative, you must respect it. Limit caffeine in the late afternoon, avoid staring at bright screens right before bed, and don't make late nights your norm. Your body is not a machine that runs endlessly. It needs time to recharge. And when you give it that rest, you'll notice the change. You learn faster, remember longer, and wake up with clarity and energy that carries you through the day. Our brain is a miraculous machine, but to perform at its best, it needs the right kind of fuel. Just like a luxury car, it cannot run smoothly if you feed it low-quality gas. The food you eat every single day becomes the energy that powers your memory, focus, and even your mood. The foods often called brain-friendly are rich in powerful nutrients. Fatty fish like salmon and sardines provide omega-3s that build brain cells and enhance memory. Berries are loaded with antioxidants that protect against premature aging. Leafy greens deliver essential vitamins and minerals. Nuts and eggs supply nutrients that keep your mind sharp and agile. These simple foods may look ordinary, but over time, they have the power to transform your brain's performance. On the other hand, fast food, sugary snacks, and unhealthy fats act like clutter in your system. They may give you a short burst of pleasure, but in the long run, they slow down your brain, weaken your memory, and drain your mental energy. Think of every meal as an investment in your future. Every spoonful of greens, every slice of salmon, every handful of walnuts is like laying a brick in the foundation of a stronger, clearer, more resilient mind. Because when you choose to eat healthy, you're not only nourishing your body, you're strengthening your memory and protecting the brilliance of your mind. Your body was never designed to stay still. Every step you take, every heartbeat that rises during movement is a gift to your brain. Exercise increases blood flow and oxygen to the brain, fueling your neurons with the energy and nutrients they need to stay sharp and active. That's why after a workout, your mind feels clearer, your mood brighter, and your memory refreshed. But the benefits don't stop there. Exercise is also a shield that protects your brain in the long run. Countless studies have shown that regular physical activity slows down aging, prevents memory decline, and even lowers the risk of neurodegenerative diseases later in life. And here's the best part. You don't have to be an athlete to experience these benefits. A brisk walk, a few stretches, dancing to your favorite song, or even light daily movement is enough to tell your brain, I am taking care of you. When your body grows stronger, your mind grows sharper, more resilient, more alive, and ready to thrive. Our brain works like a mirror, reflecting the beliefs and emotions we carry. When you truly believe, I can remember this, your brain operates in a state of openness and positivity, making it easier to absorb and process new information. On the other hand, if you constantly tell yourself, I have a terrible memory, that belief becomes a hidden barrier, weighing down your learning and making everything harder than it needs to be. Positive emotions act as powerful fuel for memory. When you study with curiosity, excitement, and joy, your brain engraves information more deeply and for a longer time. That's why the happiest memories in life remain so vivid. We remember them as if they happened just yesterday. Celebrate small wins. Every time you recall a concept, answer a question correctly, or complete a study session, give yourself credit. These moments build confidence and create a positive feedback loop. The more you believe in your memory, the stronger it becomes. Most importantly, see memory not as a fixed gift reserved for a few lucky people, but as a skill anyone can train. Just like muscles grow through exercise, memory strengthens through practice, positivity, and persistence. With the right mindset, every day becomes an opportunity to build a sharper, more resilient mind. In today's noisy and fast-paced world, our minds are constantly being pulled in every direction. Worries about the future, regrets about the past, endless streams of information. This constant restlessness makes it hard for the brain to focus, slowly eroding memory. That's where mindfulness and meditation step in as a healing remedy. When you sit down, close your eyes, and allow yourself to simply be here in this moment, your mind begins to quiet down. The noise of the outside world may still be there, but inside you, a space of stillness opens up. In that stillness, your brain is cleansed, stress is released, and your focus is reborn. Stress, the number one enemy of memory, melts away, leaving clarity and sharpness in its place. And the beauty is, you don't need hours of practice to feel the difference. Just 5 minutes a day. Sitting still, breathing deeply, watching your thoughts pass without judgment can transform your mental state. Over time, you'll notice yourself becoming more focused, your memory growing stronger, and above all, a deeper sense of balance and peace blooming within you. Technology today is like a double-edged sword. It can be a powerful tool that enhances our learning and memory, but it can also become an invisible trap that drains our focus. Used wisely, it becomes your greatest ally on the journey to mastering your memory. Think about flashcard apps like Anki or Quizlet. They are living examples of spaced repetition, one of the most scientifically proven methods to lock knowledge into long-term memory. Every time you open the app, you're not just reviewing facts. You're reinforcing neural connections that make recall effortless over time. Technology also unlocks countless ways to learn through multiple senses. You can type notes quickly, record voice memos to capture your thoughts, or highlight key ideas so your eyes can grasp them instantly. Each of these tools engages different parts of the brain, creating a richer, more lasting memory. But here's the truth. The same phone or tablet that helps you study is also a gateway to social media, games, and endless distractions. That's why the golden rule is this. Technology should serve your brain, not steal your focus. When you control technology, it becomes your assistant. When technology controls you, it becomes a thief of time and energy. None of us are born with a perfect memory. But the beauty of it is this. Memory is not a gift. It's a skill that can be trained, sharpened, and developed over time. It all begins with small yet powerful habits. Writing a few notes by hand instead of only typing, reviewing with spaced repetition instead of cramming, or simply taking 5 minutes a day to sit quietly and breathe in meditation. These tiny steps are the building blocks that, over time, create a sharper mind and a stronger memory. The real question isn't how much you can remember today, but how patient and consistent you are. Because with time, your brain adapts. It grows stronger, more focused, and your memory becomes a reliable companion throughout your life's journey. A strong memory doesn't just make learning easier. It gives you confidence, sparks creativity, and opens doors to success you might never have imagined. And as you walk this path, you'll discover that memory is not just about school or work. It's a lifelong skill, a priceless asset that you can master. If you found this episode inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Kunzy Podcast English. Let's grow a community of inspired learners, where every day we train our minds to be sharper, stronger, and more alive.